I work for Woven Durham and I'm the e-commerce manager taking care of the website and social media for the company. So Woven as a company was set up around about 12 years ago by the owner Chris. So their main focus was to look at suits and tailoring and being all-round menswear outfitters on the high street. It's been going strong for 12 years and then obviously the pandemic hit, which took a little bit of a backseat for the shop, but we've come back stronger. So we do a lot of menswear, lifestyle, sort of gifts, things like that. But we also do occasion. So you've got proms, weddings, a lot of suits for those going out every week, as you can imagine now that COVID's all over and done with pretty much. And we also have an alteration service as well. So we do all of that in-house, which is really great because it gives us sort of lots of different avenues to explore in terms of the business. We're not just sort of refined to one identity. So our tailoring is a big factor. Everything is done in-house. So if you were to come and buy a suit from us and it didn't fit how it should fit, we would make it sort of personal to you. We would get you all pinned up, give it to the girls, and they'd make sort of the perfect garment for you that you can take home and keep, which I think a lot of sort of fast fashion now, I think, as well as people want something a little bit more personal, something that they can keep. So I think that really helps us stand out. But as well as that, I think our customer service is really, I know a lot of brands say this, but customer service really is key for us. That's at the forefront of what we do. Everything we do is based around that, especially dealing with weddings and occasions. That's a special time for people in their lives. So they want the best memories and the best experience going through that. So for us to provide the best experience and the most streamlined service there is, it can give them good memories and also makes them leave us happy, which would then hopefully result in them coming back as a returning customer at a later date or passing us on as word of mouth and recommending us to somebody else. So I think those are sort of our two really main key factors of what makes us stand out. So we first started a few years ago, and then when the pandemic hit, we had no other choice really other than to use our resources and go for it. Basically, we didn't have a storefront on the high street. There was no in-person shopping allowed. So we really sort of took the reins and ran with it. Built the website. It was there. So having that online catalogue for customers allowed us to do a lot of door-to-door drop-offs and sending things out. So I think reaching that larger audience and also reaching the audience that we would have had usually was sort of like the starting point for us. But it's allowed us to expand our in-store service as well. So like I said, we've got a lot of customers who come in for weddings and occasions. Knowing what they're coming into has helped us massively. So those customers, we can say, have a look online, look at our high suit catalogue, see what we've got in store, bring in some ideas, and then that sort of starts them on their process. And from personal experience, I know that if I'm excited to start something, get going with something, if you've got to wait for an appointment, you get all full excited and you're like, you can't wait for it to come. Whereas if you've got that little bit of, I'm going to go on and I'm going to have a look, it sort of gives you an expectation, which is great for us because it sort of bridges the gap with customers and they can come in and say, I want this, or I really love this, or can you do something like this? So that was really great for us. We've also, as with any website, you can reach a global market, which being on Durham High Street, obviously you're restricted to the people that walk past your door every day. So getting online has allowed us to send product across the world. Like we send globally now, which we couldn't have done a few years ago. So that is just sort of an extra branch that we can put out, those customers that wouldn't have known who we are or wouldn't have even known, a lot of them probably don't even know where we are still because they're obviously shopping online. But it is great to be able to offer that. And also the word of mouth thing goes again. We had a customer, for example, shop with us a few weeks ago who lived in America purely because someone they knew in the UK had shopped with us and recommended us that way. So it is really good to sort of build those relationships with people in other countries as well. And I think another thing with online is it's really good to be able to offer that 24-hour customer service. It may not be personal, there may not be somebody on the other end, but obviously there's a lot of things that you can put in place. There's a lot of scheduling, there's FAQs and messengers. Taking advantage of all of those helps build that customer relationship. And like I say, if we've got somebody in America who wants to ask a question on delivery, if we can answer that question at the click of a button, then that's going to obviously help grab those customers and hopefully create sales from that. So I think definitely having that 24-hour customer service is a great part to come out of using ecom. Using the online platform as not, I think a lot of people see it as a separate form of selling, whereas it isn't really. Like, you need to think of it more as, this is my shop, all together, all as one. Being able to reach your audience, not only in person, but when they're in their own homes, when they're out and about, when they're on the phone, when they're scrolling through social media, just sort of backs up your brand and who you are and what you want to do, and sort of keeps you fresh in their memory. Somebody walks past your shop and then don't go to that town again for another few months, then that's like a few months worth of missed opportunity for those customers. So I think using the online platform as part of your own it just emphasizes your brand, basically gives you a bigger audience, a chance to reach customers that you wouldn't usually. But I think also accessibility. There's a lot of people who maybe wouldn't be able to get to your shop, who don't live close or physically can't get there. So using it as a way to get to those customers and say, I know you can't come to me, so here's me coming to you, really helps solidify you as a business and as a brand. I think the main thing to focus on, especially what I found when starting Woven, is you really need to put energy into your brand identity. If you don't know what your brand looks like to somebody else, then they don't know what you are, what you do. So if you have a store which is sort of really strong, everyone knows who you are, you've got a really good brand name and it's all round great, that's amazing. But what you then put out online, if that doesn't match what you have in store, then there's sort of a break and people can't put those two things together. So I think really solidifying who you are as a brand, what your brand looks like, and being able to sort of, if somebody can look at a photograph, for example, they should be able to know from that photograph who has posted it. So if they scroll through their social media without seeing your name, they should be able to identify, oh, that's something that Woven would post. So matching that up, matching what you have in store to online is a really, really important factor. I think it needs to be like really solid and really concrete for people to be able to pick up on that. And I think without it doesn't help in terms of brand trustworthiness. Not that your brand wouldn't be trustworthy, but having a sort of really like an Instagram account that doesn't have many posts, or it's not really reflective of what you have in store, just doesn't really help build who you are. People need to be able to search for you and see what you are, see what you're about, and then come in the store and have the same experience. I think it's going to get a lot easier for consumers, but a little bit more difficult for businesses. And I don't mean that in an awful way, but I think as we sort of move, as technology moves and things build, consumers are expecting more. They expect, I think, especially against the big guns like Amazon, for example, their delivery service is second to none. So you're competing against that constantly. And I think without knowing it, customers also compare you to that level of service, even if you are a smaller business. So I think trying to keep up with that is going to be, it won't be easy, obviously, especially for those of us that are smaller. But I think it is going more digital. I think being able to have any information you want about a brand at the click of a finger on your phone or on your computer or on your iPad in front of you as you sat in the house watching the TV on a night is sort of the next step. I think it's already headed in that direction anyway, but people are just expecting more. And obviously we're going to have to try and just keep up with that. But like you say, it's looking at what the other companies are doing, what is your competition doing, and even looking at people that may not be direct competition, but are also selling online. Like, what are they doing? How are they capturing their audience? How are they providing their services? And what can you do to mirror that, or how can you incorporate that in your business? Where at the moment, having discussions about implementing virtual sizing on our website to help with the returns process, especially with suits. If somebody buys a suit online, it's a big purchase. It's not a small amount of money, and it's an investment for a lot of our customers. So being able to advise them on what size they need to then reduce a return is sort of the next step for us. I think for smaller businesses in particular, when you look at the competition, it's really important to remember that you don't have to spend money to make money. I think a lot of small businesses see Facebook ads and Instagram promotions and think, to get my customers, I need to spend a huge sum of money to then see a return, which isn't always the case. I know sometimes and further down the line it will come to that where you do have to invest, but I think a lot of small businesses get trapped in the mindset of, I need to spend to be able to get a sale, which isn't the case. I think you need to focus on your brand identity, really define who your customer is and give the best service you can. And your customers will help. We've seen a massive increase in sales purely through word of mouth. If people come to you and have a great experience and love the product that you're selling them, then they will go to someone and tell them about it and say, oh, I've bought this from this amazing small business. And I think now there is a big focus on small business, and people are willing to shop small and maybe spend that little bit extra than they would at the bigger retailers purely for that experience. So I think really focus on what matters. Build a great brand, build a great website, and really focus on your service. And don't just put loads of money into Facebook. Although a lot of marketers will probably hate saying that, because I know that's how they make their money. But yeah, we've definitely found focusing more on the customers we have than trying to gain newer customers has helped us gain those new customers that we were trying to get in the first place. So I think that's definitely a number one tip.